If from the end I can go to the form, and from the form we have the form, the end, and the nature. So if I can go from the end, or if you prefer the end, the form and the nature, I can go. What I want to say. Yes, I can see that the nature is for an end. When the nature acts, I act according to my nature. That's it. I must act according to my nature. My nature acts for an end. So they act according to their nature. And that is the principle fundamental in ethics. Ethics is there. You see, interesting to see philosophy of nature, philosophy of man is linked with ethics. I continue. Passive principles in nature, moreover, are normally related to natural agents, through the activity of which they are brought to their proper actualization for the most part. So that means we know the nature of a thing, the nature of an animal, the nature of a disease, Ebola, for example, to the end, to the effect, to the end. And from the end, we can discover the form of that being. We know the form of a being from this, the end attained by the being. And that the end attained, we call that the effect. The effect. Okay. I pass just after the paragraph. Thus, the act to which agents naturally direct matter by their activity are determinate acts. And the act, so that means when the subject, and the subject man, for example, is doing an action, he acts to attain an object. So the act of man is determined by the object. My eyes are determined by the light, I receive. But at the same time, they react to that light as a living being. It is, in fact, knowledge. What is knowledge? We study that soon. It is a communion between the object and the subject. It is an action-reaction, action-reaction. I see something enter in me, the form enter in me, I try to know what is that. Okay? In fact, knowledge is a living action. Knowledge is a spontaneous activity. That means when you know, you react. If you don't react, either you are dead or you are sleeping. Okay, I continue. It is in this sense that nature is said to act for an end. The nature is act for an end. That means nature, St. Thomas said, nothing exists in vain. That means if there is a nature of a thing, there must be for something. Nature is said to act for an end. Nature does not act in vain. St. Thomas says that. Because when nature acts, it is to attain something. So the question is for mosquitoes. Why mosquitoes act? There must be a reason to feed bats. To feed bats. Okay. So it is we call on the principle, so that the principle of sufficient reason. Principle of sufficient reason. Consequently, the act or form, considered as the end. Interesting. We have the word act, you have the word form, you have end. And all that is nature. All that is nature. That means nature act, operate for an end. Nature operate for an end. Every nature has its proper end. The cat has an end that the dog does not have, Okay? I continue. To which a natural being tends either actively or passively. So the act determines whether a process is or is not in accordance with nature. The form of the act. For example, what is my form? It is my rationality. Rationality. Okay. He applied that to ethics. What determines what is accordant with my nature? It is my rationality, or my nature completely. Because also as an animal, I must also respect my animality. In fact, you know, all those things are linked together. The form, the end, and from that I can say the nature as an end. The nature operates for an end. For example, it's clear, the sexual instinct in any animal, it is for reproduction. It's for, except for human being, we think it's not for that, but the animal, they think about that, you know. That means nature, my eyes are, and then is to see. And to see, to help me to discover the world, to be, you know, there is nothing in vain in nature. Or everything has its sufficient reason of existence.
What was the end for man for Aristotle?
The end of man, we studied metaphysics, is man is open to the infinite in knowledge, infinite in the will, happiness. So man is for eternal happiness. He's searching for happiness, for truth, not the end of man. But that end is that thing through animal activities. I must eat, I must reproduce, I must breathe, I must sleep, etc. In fact, it's the same for in my nature. All my senses as a reason to exist. Every sense has a specific operation, a specific mission. So there is a link between form and nature. If I want to take my triangle, I will say they go together. Form and nature. We cannot separate that. Okay. Now, I continue at the bottom of the page. Consequently, okay, next page, I have just the time to speak about violence, chance. Okay. Page 25. The form as an end is called nature. I explained that to you. Okay. 17.4.3 is the summary of what I just told you. The form is the principle of becoming. In fact, what is the principle of activity? It is the form. At the same time, if a thing is changing, what is the principle of change? Is not the matter, because the matter is passive. It is the form. So the form is the principle of becoming, and becoming is change. Becoming. Okay. Change now fortune. We say fortune or luck for man. Change in general. It is accidental. It's something happens rarely, seldom. Is not intended, and it is not expected. So it is something. It is the interference. The meeting, the encounter of two different lines of causality. A causality, another causality, and by accident they meet one another. Suppose I go to the store, I need to buy, I don't know, something, shoes. At the same time, just on the street before entering the store, I meet a friend I did not see for 10 years, and I was searching to meet him. He is there. That is change, luck. Okay. If one follow his destiny. But we can read that, but it's not difficult. On page 126, so chance is the accidental, irregular, and unusual in nature course. If you win every week $5,000 on Gunsville, be sure he will ask question. It's not normal. Okay? And now, chance denies determinism. Determinism, they say there is everything is preview, everything is determined. No, chance, in fact, we must recognize that it is a fact in life that not everything is guided by determinism. Many things are apparently pure chance, apparently, pure chance. But of course, for a Christian, we don't say that it is providence. Like for a philosopher, now it's chance. But what is interesting, at the same time, some scientists, they affirm that chance is a reality. At the same time, they will say, you know, if we have 3 trillion cells in your body, and they have everyone of the same DNA, it is by chance. By chance. It is the theory of evolutionists. Everything is by chance. And chance do well, huh? Chance do very well. Very intelligent chance. No, but that is sometimes they contradict themselves. Huh? Positivism. Positivism in the 19th century, they say we can explain everything scientifically. There is no mystery. We can explain everything. At the same time, they recognize, for example, the chance is a fact. You cannot deny that. Every common man recognizes that something happened in his life accidentally, and we cannot explain that. Okay, fortune is the good chance. Is the good chance. I see here they have 2 words: necessity and determinism. We will come back on that. And necessity is the condition, characteristics everything. It cannot be otherwise. That is necessary. Determinism is the opinion of affirming that things are necessary. You know, evolution is necessary, but at the same time is at random, at chance, by chance. They contradict themselves. God says in the Bible that He will contradict the wisdom of the learned. I think what we see in the world now. So chance is called fortune also. Good fortune, good chance. The fortuna. It's interesting that in French and Latin, fortuna means chance, and fortuna means money. Richness, the fortune. And the fortuna, that's the amount of money you have. Oh, you have a good fortune. He gave to his wife, when he died, he gave to his wife, his widow, a good fortune, a lot of money. A good fortune is also the good luck. Maybe it's a good luck to have a lot of money. It's by luck, by chance. And finally, a word about violence. We will come back on that when we study ethics, the limitation of freedom. Violence is to do something contrary to nature. Action contrary to nature. Externally enforced, apply externally. You have espalier, you know, the trees, they are along the house, and we force the tree to be, to stick, to cling to the house, you know. We call that espalier, the French word, espalier. But that is violence. We make violence to the apple tree. For example, in Anjou, I saw an orchard, and the whole orchard is an espalier. That is very interesting because they have only one line of branches, like a menorah. So he picked that, but it's violent for trees. It's not according to the nature. So 2 possibilities. Either prevents the thing from following its course. For example, the Chinese who oblige women to have little feet, okay? Or forces it to act contrary to them, to force something to act contrary. For example, in the case of men, to force something to act contrary against their conscience, okay? So, or you take a bird and you put a string to a bird, So the bird can fly, but only around the chair where you attach the bird, you know. That is violence. The violence, okay? So I continue. This inclination against which violence is exercised are intrinsic source of activity. So I can try to control the will, diminish the will, force people, torture, etc. So we will come back on that. You have, we studied that also when we studied the psychology, the complex. In psychology, for example, you have some complexes. The neuroses, they are, in fact, it's a kind of violence against nature. Well, next week we will work on the notion of motion. What is motion? We said that motion is a reality everywhere, so it's important. In fact, the concepts are not very numerous. Matter, form, act, potency, change, and nature. You know, in fact, there is many things, but we are linking. Okay, now it is the Santa Claus.